Hi, it's Zaben again. I wanted to explain to you, what does it mean to have a session with me? Like, what does that look like? What does it mean to be a psychically guided therapist, right? Like, at some point or somehow these words don't seem to blend easily. However, it makes total sense. So I was sitting with a friend and I was like, this whole, the title, like, what I do is unexplainable to others. I don't know how to explain it. And she simply looked at me and said, well, you're a psychic. And I was like, oh, no. That's a word for somebody else. I'm not psychic, not a channeler. My voice doesn't change. Nothing really happens. And she's like, well, you're totally a psychic. You've always psychically given me information that I knew intuitively, and you put it into words and you make it into a form which resonates fully. And I was like, is that possible? So what I ended up doing was I sat with myself and I resolved all my personal issues about being psychic. So psychic to me had meant that I go into this, like, I see in the crystal ball, right? Things like that. And I was like, but that's not me. I don't see in a crystal ball. Psychic meant that I would tell the future. And I was like, I don't tell the future. I see the possibilities. Psychic to me meant that I was woo-woo and I had to, like, dress in a certain way and have my tarots all over the place, which I do work with tarots personally, and sometimes with clients if that's the thing that pops up for me. And so I had to sit with myself and understand my fear and resistance to the idea that this wonderful friend of mine was sharing with me. And then she started to share and say, well, there's a lot of things that you have told few people that she knows. And what happens is I get information for someone, and, like, no matter what I do to, like, say it's none of my business, I haven't seen this person in years, or I don't know this person well enough, or this person I know too well, like, I've always had an excuse. The intensity of the information that I am receiving for that person will not allow me to do anything else, no matter how much I try to, like, dodge it away, say it's none of my business and whatever. Nothing will stop it. Like, I get hammered with the information. And this intense need to get it out to that person. It's like nothing else matters but this information going directly to that person. And a lot of times it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, it kind of makes sense in a very spiritual way, but it doesn't make logical sense. What I end up doing is I end up typing all that information out, releasing it all into paper, saying what needs to be said, and then I email it to that person, WhatsApp it to that person, depending on what it is. And the feedback has always been, wow. Yet I never took it as wow, because I'm like, well, this is me. Like, it's always been me in a way. I just didn't know it was my soul gift, which I had been looking for most of my life. And so I started to pay attention with my clients. I have questions arise inside of me to ask them something that's only gonna allow them to answer me back. And when they answer me back, I see their answer and I see the solution, or I see where this answer is coming from. Their shadow self, their limiting belief, their own mental gunk. Like, there's something that I know, and from there I ask another question, and I keep unraveling this person through really psychic abilities. I've come to terms with it. Psychic abilities that happen. And so I'm guided psychically on what to ask, how to release, and what tool to use. I've spent over 25 years of my life studying and every workshop you can possibly, like books and workshops and courses, and I would travel around the world. Like I would hear like one of my favorite people is about to certify people. I would fly in and I would do everything. Like I was accumulating information consistently into my system, just constantly accumulating information. And from the minute I was like aware of anything, like I was a child, I was constantly in service of others. I was a total empath. I am a total empath. And I was a leaking empath. I was leaking everywhere because I wanted to be of service to everyone. I wanted to bring joy and happiness to everyone I came across. And of course, the first place I wanted that joy in was my family dynamics. As a little child, they were the most important people in my life, my parents and my family. So I would exert all my energy. I would deny who I am to make sure that I can be everything they want me to be, so that they can be happy, because when they're happy, I'll feel complete. I feel like I did my job. I will feel happiness because as an empath, I was feeling everyone's feelings all the time. But I didn't know that then. I had no idea that was happening. All I knew is intuitively, I would just go and help this person. I'd be walking down the street and a random person would speak to me and share something about themselves that maybe I didn't want to know about. And I would smile through it, and somehow I would feel that just by my ability to listen to them without taking it on as my own, just to listen to them, their energy would shift and they would thank me, and I wouldn't know what they were thanking me for. Because I thought everybody was like me. No idea that this was a soul gift, like none, which I'm sure many others have and don't know that that's a unique trait. So I thought everybody was sharing themselves so honestly and deeply and vulnerably and authentically with everyone else. And during that process, I chose and decided that nobody's really interested in how I am personally feeling. I'm not even interested in how I'm personally feeling. I'm going to be there for everybody else. And I will shift and change who I am consistently to bring pleasure for everybody else. How many of you have actually done this? How many of you have done this? So many. This is resonating with a lot of people I know, right? Until, of course, I studied Reiki, like the second when I was 19, I was like, that's it. Because I would put my hands on people when they would have a headache or feel ill, and I would feel this urge to like heal them with my hands that would be emanating heat outside, and I would just I wouldn't even know what I'm doing. I would just do something. Now, my grandma was a healer, a telepathic, she would know what was happening with the weather. She was like so connected in so many ways. So I always looked up to her, and I desired desperately for her to teach me. However, I didn't have the time to spend with her teaching me, and I don't think that she knew how to teach me to do what came to her so easily. Like, she would have outer body experiences. She would be in two places at the same time. People would be seeing her at the two different places at the same time. Like, she was magic. She would see things. I would see things. I would see dark entities. I would, get whispers from some other dimension that was spectacular. It just goes on and on, the experiences I have had. However, I didn't trust myself enough. I always doubted myself because there was no one else going through what I was going through other than my grandmother, and she was so busy in her world that she would validate me, but with the rest of my world, with my community, with my family, with my friends, with school, I would have never been understood, because what I saw alone. Right? I saw in my own privacy. I did on my own. And what I saw through people, as I spoke to people, I would tell who's like lying, who's saying the truth, what the words are. But I was always doubt myself, because I would listen to everybody else saying, no, but this person's wonderful. Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Only to find out years later that they were lying. But at the time, because my external world denied what I personally knew and saw, I believed them because I was scared, horrified, to not belong, to be excluded, and not to be of service, right? So I became a people pleaser and codependent. That was basically who I was. As the years progressed, I'm sharing all this with you because I know so many of you are going to resonate with us. As the years progressed and I acquired all this information, and the funny thing is I wouldn't really use it on I would try it out with myself, and then if it would work, I would rush and try to help like family, friends, everyone. That wasn't even my career path. Like I went and studied Reiki to know how to not receive other people's pains as I was healing them, which was miraculous. So to me, I'm all set. I've got Reiki, I know the symbols, and I can put my hand on people, and I can read people, and I can see things and feel things. It was just, I'd walk into a space, and I would either feel it was heavy or light, and I would somehow know what to do. So anyway, that was sort of my woo-woo world, and that was all within me internally, and I didn't know what it was. I just thought everyone was like that. And there was something that I desperately needed. I wanted my soulmate. I wanted my true love, right? I wanted what I thought in my mind was, when I find that true love, I can expose myself, my true self, to that one true love of mine. And in that exposing of myself, I'll be free to just be me finally, whatever form I'm in, because I'll be unconditionally loved by my soulmate. So this was like my dream since I was maybe 9, 8. I don't remember past that for some reason, only when I'm meditating, but they're not like solid memories in my waking state. And that was all I've ever desired. Like one day I'll meet this one guy and he will completely allow me to be my woo-woo self, my crazy self, my happy self, and just accept me for all the parts of me that nobody else seems to accept. This was only the dialogue in my head. Now, this went on for years. I dated lots of guys, didn't work out. I never felt safe or comfortable with anybody until one day I met someone who completely wooed me. I didn't like them at first at all. I didn't like this person at all, and wooed me into being with them because they seemed to reflect everything that I was. And allowed me to be me. If anything, I was being complimented 24 hours a day. I was being loved. I was being surrounded with love, messages and phone calls and visits and flights in. And it was just overwhelming. I was like, wow, this person loves me so much. I'm starting to fall madly in love with myself for the first time. Loved my woo-woo side, loved my energy talks. Everything. And as I began to relax and ease and accept, right? Even though at first I did not want this person anywhere near me, I honestly was like cringing when they first approached me. I was like nauseated. But because I didn't trust myself, I didn't listen to that. I thought it was just another fabrication of my imagination or my emotions. Went into it, toxic relationship, got out of it in a state of suicide. I was in interior design at the time, left interior design and said, looked for, I seriously was going to sue. You can read my book. It's called Happily Ever After. The link is at the bottom. I'll leave a link wherever this video is going to be for you to read the book and know exactly how traumatizing my experience was. Once that was done, I had so much learning in me. I went and searched for somebody to help me out of this or explain what I was in. Nobody then knew narcissism, or I didn't know narcissism. So many healers and therapists and psychologists, and nobody was telling me except one person told me this is called narcissistic abuse. And that was like the biggest, oh, there is something like this. Anyway, that beautiful relationship of hell broke down all my foundation, tore out all the pretend I was for other people, and led me towards NLP because nothing was helping me. Any kind of modality of therapy was helping me. And I had this deep knowing that NLP would, and I didn't know what NLP was. I just read it one time and I kept saying, this is my thing. Finally, it worked. I found an NLP practitioner. I got Scrooged by 2. And yet it was just this thing inside that was saying, forget those people. Look for the founder. I found the founder. Founder was someone living somewhere totally far in Florida. I was like, oh no. And then just like that, as I trusted that inner voice inside, someone who was certified by the founder for years on end had moved to the country I was living in. Within that week that I had that nagging feeling that this is the way for me. So fell in love with it, shifted careers immediately and said, my calling is to help everyone. Now, now when I tell you that I am also an NLP practitioner, very certified therapist, that's where all the tools are. So all the tools of the years I've accumulated of information, of things I've tried on myself, of teachers and guides and instructors that I have had throughout my life, I've accumulated so many tools and so many techniques. And yet the only way I know when to use one is through the psychic guidance that I receive. It's like, no, this person doesn't need EFT, or this person doesn't need to go through their timeline. This person might just need to talk to their inner child. So that's what shows up, and I know it, and it happens. So that is why I called it psychic guided therapy. And that is what I offer you. A guided therapy sessions where you get psychic information from me that allow you to see your soul gifts. Dogs must relax. So basically, I offer you the opportunity to actually find your soul gifts through my psychic abilities, now that I've come to terms with it. Through my psychic abilities and my abilities with all the tools and skills that I've acquired. The coolest part is that even when a tool that I know comes in for this specific client, or even for me while I'm meditating, there's different stuff in it, things that are added, or they'll get me 2 or 3 different modalities to merge together. Or they will give me a modality and say, but do it this way, which is different, a little bit shifted from the way I've actually done it. So they're not exactly the way I learned them. They're just, the reason I think I've received all this information and teachings is to know that, oh, this will work, but shift it this way. So it's very specified to each individual that shows up. I also offer these in workshops and group sessions. So if you've got a group of people that you want to all evolve and grow into your soul gifts together, give me a call and we'll set it up. It's a beautiful experience. I feel rejuvenated. They feel rejuvenated. It's just a whole bubble of joy and inspired intuitions and just the unraveling. It's like waking up to who you truly are. This is what my private sessions offer. This is what my group sessions offer. If you're meant to be with me, you will be. But just know that I can give you great openings towards your soul gifts that you may find are actually the things that you despise about yourself. And that's where the true jewel of you exists. Today, what has happened to me? I would love to offer everybody this great boundary of container, the ability to have compassion and love without feeling guilty, shamed, and blamed, right? It's the freedom I offer you to help guide you towards your personal, beautiful, vulnerable, authentic freedom by connecting to your soul gifts. Take care of yourselves. I hope this was helpful and insightful. Let me know how many of you have gone through this path. You know, tons of light workers and empaths out there that are listening to this. You all understand what I'm talking about. Go to my YouTube channel and watch this. Get in touch with me. All the information is available for you. And let's start this fun, exciting journey together.